All right, y'all. What's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with another video. All right, y'all. So yeah, I was just listening to Holly Holm's interview as well from UFC for leading up to UFC 300, and of course, they were going to ask this question because of Ronda Rousey's most recent interview. Where Ronda talked about having concussions leading up to the fight with Holly Holm, and why she wasn't at 100% with that fight or like the Amanda Nunes fight. Just overall kind of downplaying, the victories they've Amanda Nunes and Holly Holm have gotten over Ronda Rousey in a way, right? Because she's going down saying she's one of the greatest fighters or the greatest fighter. Well, she's definitely one of the best WMMA fighters, one of the more entertaining ones. Ronda Rousey was, and she did help put it on the map. I ain't gonna lie, like she did help put WMMA on the map like that. She did, right? But what it comes down to is, look, Ronda Rousey, she was still limited, right? She was still a limited fighter, and it was just a matter of time before somebody came along and was able to just pick her apart, expose those holes, and destroy her, right? It was just a matter of time, and there's nothing wrong with Holly Holm. There's nothing wrong with losing to a fighter like Holly Holm. Is supposed to make you better, right? Whatever it is in life. I mean, you can always, try to run from things where people are going to tell you you're doing great, but eventually you're going to come across the truth, and basically what Holly Holm said in this interview was the truth. She said that, Holly Holm is, Ronda Rousey is a good fighter. She was a dominant champion, but she was just a better fighter that night. And that's what it was. She was the one that came more equipped. She came equipped with more tools and just came in there and did what she had to do. But this is what she had to say. She said, look, in order to have a big upset like that fight was, you have to have a dominant champion. Without Ronda Rousey being so dominant, then I couldn't have been able to have such an upset. With that being said, I was a better fighter. I was a better fighter that night. And this is what she had to say about the whole concussion. It didn't have anything to do with that. It just had to do with skills in that fight. Like she said, if you made a career of fighting, you've had a concussion at some point. You go back and look at some of her boxing matches, Holly Holm's boxing matches, and some of the things I've done, I've definitely had some concussions. I'll never sit here and use that as an excuse for any loss, okay? So, yeah, just going back to the whole better fighter that night thing. I mean, it was quite obvious, like obvious for me as a fight fan, not just like a Holly Holm fan. Like I said, I am a fan of Holly Holm as a boxer. I've been watching her for years, but even I knew that was a fight that she could win and was gonna win that night, because the things I've seen Holly doing as a trainer and the things I've saw her do even in her early MMA career, I was already like, okay, I think she has what it takes. I think she's got what it takes to end Ronda Rousey's streak. And the things that Ronda had that weren't going to help her in the fight didn't necessarily apply to her skills. It was more of her mental. Like, her mental was, I'm unstoppable, or, I'm just a better fighter, or I don't need to do this, I don't need to do that. I got the right people in my corner. And the people in her corner didn't really tell her that they didn't tell her that Holly Holm was this dangerous threat. They thought it was just going to be another walk in the park, right? So mentally, Ronda already had the wrong outlook on this fight. So I was like, you know what, Holly Holm's got this. I'll put everything on this one. And this is one fight I felt like, okay, if anybody's going to lose, if Ronda Rousey's going to lose to somebody tonight, it's going to be Holly. And it all came down to those tools and skills. Like, Ronda Rousey's never faced that type of footwork. She's never been hit with a straight left hand like that. She's never been hit with those solid jabs and forearms. She never faced anybody that could that could play the matador and make her look stupid. You know what I mean? Like, after a couple minutes in the round, you could just see her falling apart because the script, she didn't get this script. She didn't get this script that night. Every other script was just, okay, you got this, the end. Arm bar, the end. Head toss, arm bar, the end. But, Holly Holm, she brought in some new lines in there, and she wasn't ready for that. So that's what it really was in that fight. Like, it had nothing to do with concussion. I mean, maybe like she said, she did get a concussion or something, like, but you fight through it. You never seen Holly Holm make that complaint. Like, we all know at this point in Holly Holm's career that she's had a concussion of 5. You know what I mean? Like, Holly Holm has been in there, like, with Anne-Sophie Mathis. You ever seen that knockout loss in boxing? I mean, that fight, whether it's Chris Cyborg, who else did she fight where she took some big punch? Of course, Amanda Nunes, that was a quick one, but Valentina, just taking a steady, consistent, thumping, drumming of shots. Every fighter in there has faced or had a concussion, so Holly Holm is just that type of fighter I always felt like was just that warrior that's not going to make excuses, you know. And that's not to take away from Ronda Rousey, her work ethic, but, you know, again, nobody's perfect, but you still got to go back and check yourself sometimes and say, okay, like, I'm not going to be the best fighter. There's always going to be somebody that knows a little bit more than me. Or if I'm here at the top, I got to humble myself and say, okay, somebody's coming for what I got. So I got to make sure that my defense is, you know, is just solid, impenetrable. You know, you got to make sure all of that is on point. And I think that, again, like with Ronda Rousey, with her being catered to for so long, that delusion was getting strong. You know, being catered to for so long, delusion grows strong. That's what happens. You know what I mean? That's what makes it hard for some fighters to take an L, or the minute they get hit in the cage, they feel like, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. I'm quitting. You know, this person is fighting back. I'm done. You know, and I think Ronda Rousey has a hard time accepting that. See, Holly Holm, on the other hand, you know, she's been hit in the face. She's been humbled by punches to the face. And, you know, even in the sparring, you know, getting your butt kicked over and over, it shows you how to get better as a fighter. So Holly, and even like, let's say if Ronda was doing that, it would come down to ego, because, like, it's all in how you react to it. I think Holly, she's always reacted to it in a better way, to say, okay, I'm not that good as I thought, but you're still not going to stop me. I'm going to still keep on trying, right? That's always been her. And that's why Holly's still fighting today. I mean, you know, she's racked up some losses, but one thing about her is that she's always feeling like, okay, you know, I can learn from this. I'll, you know, just brush this aside. I'm still a fighter. Nobody's going to take that away from me. I mean, it's a dangerous thing to think like that, but at the same time, I think that's what makes her, you know, a little bit better natured when it comes to, you know, just respecting the fight game, you know. So that's why I got a lot of respect for Holly Holm. Like, I do think that her day could be done here soon, you know, just as a fellow 40-year-old person, like, just when you feel like that little wear and tear on the body. And, you know, with the number of fights that she's had, I would love to see her go out, you know, with everything still intact as far as her, you know, her motor skills and her mind. You know, I want to see her go off and still have all of that when she's in her 50s and 60s. But I still think that Holly's one of the better representatives of the sport when it comes down to, you know, winning and taking a loss. Humbling winning, humbling a loss as well. You know, I think that's why Ronda, you know, it was wise for her never to come back. You know, like, I wouldn't want to see Ronda come back for anything. You know, this is how she feels about it. And, you know, she thinks that those 2 losses just came because of this, like a concussion or whatever. Maybe they had some contribution to it, but when it all came down to it, it was just a lack of skills. That's all it was. But guys, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. What y'all think about this fight coming up this weekend? I'll be doing a breakdown on it, but you can let me know. Combo Breaker 99, I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.